Hi, I'm Matt. Welcome back to the 3D Printing Canada YouTube channel. Today we're going to be looking at the new K1C from Creality. So we open the front of the box and there is actual instructions on the front of the box for how to take open and use the printer, which is awesome. So when you open the box, you'll be met with the lid, the instruction manual and some fun stickers, and the printer itself. All right, so we have taken out all the packaging that was already included in the printer. You just pull it right out, and we'll just take a look at what is included in this packaging now. Looks like in the first box here, we have a power cable, as well as the handle for the door, and the carbon filter that's included with this printer, which is nice. I really like this. This is awesome. The next box that we have is this one. This usually has all the tools and filament in it, if I remember right. Yes, here is the screen for the printer. Looks the same as all the other screens, which is good. They're good screens. We have the spool holder for the back of the printer, and your small little test spool of filament, still white like all the other ones. And then the box, you have the little filament pusher, side cutters, a spatula, wrench, grease, glue stick, the USB card, and then just some Allen keys and tweezers and stuff like that. What's very important is that before you plug in the machine, you have to make sure that the power supply is set to the correct voltage. If you live in a European country with 230 volt power, it can stay as it is, I think. Yeah, it's set to 230 by default. But if you live in an American country, such as Canada, United States, any of those places, you will need to switch it to 115. So you can do this easily with a screwdriver. Just have a pen here. All you're going to do is there will be a little switch inside of there, and I am just going to, let's see if I can get it, switch it to the correct side. So now it's on the side with 115 volt. And then you're good to go. You can plug it in after that. Now, before we turn on the printer, I should probably install the screen too. It's important. And it actually does come with a little warning to check the power supply, which is good. So you can't forget that. In this case, I'm just going to peel it off because we've already done that. And then we just have the connector on the back, which will connect to this ribbon cable down here. And we'll just push that into there until it clicks in both sides. Make sure. And then we can slot it into the socket there until it fits in. And then just double check and make sure that the door opens and closes clearly. So I have the printer plugged in now, and I'm just going to turn it on. And it will take a second. There we go. It's turned on now. And I'm just going to open the door up. We'll install the handle on the door later. You could do it right now, but I'm just going to get all the packaging out and then we'll do it afterwards. It will take a minute to boot up for the first time. So once it boots up, you will be met with this language selection screen. We're going to do English because I am not bilingual. Next, you can take this foam out. It's important. And we're just going to have to remove the screws as it shows in the guide here. The 3 screws are located, there's one here, one back here, and one on this side. They are the silver screw, and it's located in the middle. The arrow's pointing right at them. And we're just going to remove these using the included Allen key. So now I've removed the 3 screws as indicated in the diagram here. And I'm just going to click the OK button. And so we just want to make sure that there's nothing inside of this bed here, in the build volume, and then we can click OK. And it's going to privacy policy. I'm going to skip connecting it to the network right now, but if you had a network, you could. set the time zone. I'm not going to bind it to the Creality cloud, but you could do that at this point. And we will start the detection process. So it's going to home the printer and do all the self-tests. So we are just going to hit start detecting, and it is going to begin all of these tests, just to make sure that everything's working properly on the printer. So we have the printer off now, but it finished the calibration, ran through the, homed all the axis, did the input shaping calibration, and did the automatic bed leveling. Important to note as well that you will need to make sure that if you move this to a different surface, such as if I take this to a different table or maybe move it to the floor or something like that, it's important to redo the input shaping as it will change the values. So now we're at the back of the printer and we're going to install the carbon filter and the spool holder. The installation of the spool holder is exactly the same as the previous K1 models, where you're just going to slot it in using the 2 tabs in the back and then just twist it to lock it into place. And that's in there. And then we will install the carbon filter, make sure that the up arrow is facing up, and line it up with the holes by the back exhaust fan here, and we will just slot that in. Oh, it's a nice fit as well. It's not going anywhere, which is great. While we're back here too, I'll note this model does also come with a filament runout sensor, which is right here. Same spot as the previous K1, and it looks like it has a little less harsh of an angle on the tube as well, which is really nice to see. Might be a little easier for the filament to feed in. Now, this carbon filter is not necessary to be used. It's still a good idea to throw it in there, might as well. But I will note as well, it does look like they're using the same back pattern. So if you had printed any of those modifications to put a filter unit on here before, it does look like it should fit on here. I'll have to check and see. I think I have one laying around, but it does look to be the same. So now we're going to install the handle for the front door. So in the kit, it will come with your 2 screws. The back panel piece, make sure you have these 2 little grommets to fit in there, or little bits to go in there, and then the handle itself. And all you're going to do is insert the 2 little interface pieces into the hole, and then you're going to want to slot the screws into that hole there and thread them through. I dropped one, we'll grab the other one. There we go. Whoops. And we'll do the same with the other one. And then once that's done, we can install this on the back side of the door, like so. Make sure that the flat edge is facing the edge of the door, and then we will turn it around and screw it into the, I'm dropping these all over the place, screw it into the door, the handle of the door. Make sure as well that you don't over tighten these, as they can strip out the handle of the door. So just tighten them until it's tight, and don't go any further than that. So you can see once it's on here, now the door will close. Couple nice things to note that I've just noticed really quick about this printer is that the door now holds its place a lot better, so it's much more rigid in how it stands. So you can open it and it stays there, it doesn't move around as much. Also, I've noticed that the bed comes with a automatic nozzle brush. It seems to be made of silicone, and so your nozzle will brush on this before it starts the print. The bed also comes with this nice looking nameplate at the front. Just makes the printer look a little more sleek and professional. And yeah, it comes with a different magnetic surface as well. This feels almost like a mesh rather than that's the best way I can describe it, as a mesh feeling rather than the normal magnet, but seems to hold well. And same, one side is PEI coated, and the other side is just the bare spring steel. Other than that, the printer looks pretty similar. We do have a camera included automatically, which is nice. And it looks like the cable chain is set a little higher than the previous K1, so it will not hit the sides of the printer anymore. It will set a little higher here. Yeah, other than that, the printer looks pretty much the same. No huge changes by the looks of things. Yeah, looks good. All right, so now we're going to go through some of the screen functionality on this printer. I just had it doing some test prints, which is why it's heated up a little bit, but it's essentially the same as the old K1s. You have your temperature settings here. There's your chamber temperature, bed temperature, and nozzle temperature. You can change any of those by just tapping on them. You have the light on and off function and your fans in the bottom right here. Here is a temperature graph just for all the temperatures. On the sidebar here, if we go to the settings menu, there's the cooling settings again. Input, output of material. Make sure to change the temperature depending on what material you're extruding or retracting. And then we have movement, temperature, motor off, all that stuff. The next icon down below is the files. So there are the files that come pre-installed to the printer, and then it will store all the sliced files as well. And then you can access the USB drive, which I don't have installed currently, over here. And there's your print history at the side. After that, we can go to our machine settings. So here we have things like the screen brightness, how long the screen stays on, language. You can redo the printer self-check. Here's some settings for rooting it, putting full clipper and whatnot on it. Updates, time, everything. Then you have your network settings, which is just pretty straightforward, all your internet settings. And because this has a camera built in, you have all the camera functionality here, like your videos, AI function, all of that. And finally, you have all the help settings. So here's your error history, upload logs, and all the FAQs and whatnot. Firmware update will be in the settings menu under system, and then you can go version checking. Click on that, and it will check if you're on the latest version, which we currently are. If not, it would prompt you to update to the latest version, and you would just go through with that. All right, so one really nice feature that I didn't realize until I started using this printer, it actually comes with a quick change nozzle on it, which is great. You can just unscrew it with one hand and screw a new one back in. So the way you want to do that is make sure that your filament is removed first, and then cool the nozzle down, just so you don't burn your fingers, because you can change it cold. And then all you're going to want to do is take the sock off the hot end and just unscrew the nozzle with your fingers. There is some thermal paste on the nozzle, so you want to try and not get that on your hands if you can. If you do, just wash it off. But we're just going to unscrew it. until it drops right out. So you can see they've included the nozzle and the heat break all in one. So similar to Revo or the CM2 upgrade by Micro Swiss, it's just included by default with this printer. It's Creality's own version. And we will be carrying these replacement nozzles for it as well, if you need to change one out. And then to reinstall it, you can do it cold once again. You're just going to slot it right back up into the ceramic heater cartridge and just screw it right back in. And just keep going until it is in finger tight. It doesn't need to be super tight as it's all one unit, but just keep going until it reaches the end. And then just tighten it down until it's finger tight. And you're good to go. You can put the sock back on and keep going. So I've had a little bit of time to do some printing on this printer and try it out a little bit. I had gone over some of the features that were immediately noticeable to me on the printer before. So I'm just going to kind of recap on those again real quick, along with a couple new ones that I found. One big thing that I found is this top cover is on a lot harder. So, oops. It actually, that was a little loud. It actually sits on there quite well. So you can just lay it down there and it stays on and you can pop it off quite easily. But it will sometimes rattle a little bit. So if you want it to stay on further, you just kind of push it in and now it's on there a lot tighter. It's not going to rattle around while you're printing or anything. Let's take this off. As I mentioned before, the cable chain is set a little higher. So as the print head is moving around, you don't get any of that annoying knock that you would get with the original one when the cable chain would hit the side of the printer. It's gone now, which is really nice. The machine also has a much looser path for the Bowden tube, and that makes it a lot easier to load the filament into the machine and unload it again. I also found it provides a little more reliable printing experience if it's not quite as steep of a turn, and that's both on the back here and on the extruder. It's hard to see probably on the camera, but it is a little less steep of an angle in, which is really nice. It was a lot easier for me to reload the filament into the printer with that all-in-one extruder or nozzle design. It was much easier to unload filament, reload filament. In fact, I could actually use, instead of having to push it in manually, I could use the screen functionality of just load filament, unload filament, and that worked great, which is really awesome. The loading stuff in the old one was kind of a pain sometimes, so I'm glad they fixed that up. That's really good. Another nice thing is, of course, this activated carbon filter at the back of the printer. If you're printing any smelly materials, it can help to filter some of that out. If you're going to be printing something like ABS or ASA or nylon, any of that sort of stuff that's not really great for you, I would definitely recommend still setting up a proper fume extraction, as I don't know about the longevity of that filter, but it's nice to have it there either way. There is the camera, which is included. It's the exact same one as you could get as an add-on for the original K1, but it's really nice that it just comes stock with the new one. Other than that, there is, the door stays. It's a lot more rigid now. When I first opened the printer, it was kind of difficult to open it back and forth. After using it for a couple days, it is a little looser now, but it feels really nice to use because it stays, but it's not difficult to open or close. And I think the final really nice feature is just a little nozzle cleaning, I don't know what you call that. It's a little nozzle wiping part on the bed, which is built in, and the nozzle cleans itself before it starts to print, which is really cool. So now we can move on to doing some of the printing that I got on it. Because it is the K1C, I did do some printing using our carbon fiber standard PLA. I didn't get a chance to try PETG just because of limited time, but I'm 100% sure that it would work phenomenally given the results that I got on the PLA. The first print that I did was this little soap dispenser that I found on Printables. And it's small. I scaled it up, but it printed really nice. The walls are very smooth, and the supports just broke right off. It was awesome. One thing I noticed is that it was a little difficult to get it off the bed. I would definitely recommend putting some glue stick down, as it just helps it to release a little easier. But once I put the glue stick down, it was perfect. Next, I printed it a little larger, just to see how it fared when it scaled up, and it's beautiful. It was really easy to get printing with the carbon fiber. I had no issues whatsoever. I just printed it like I would any other PLA, and it went awesome. I used the carbon fiber preset on Creality print for this one, and it turned out awesome. I'm really happy with it. I think it's great. The next thing I moved on to was just doing some of our silk PLA. This was supposed to be a vase, but I accidentally broke the bottom off. Oops. But I did it in our dichromatic filament, so it changes color as you go around. And once again, it's a beautiful print. I can see a couple little ringing marks here and there, but nothing that I would say is out of the ordinary. And it does show up a little easier on some of the silk materials. On the carbon fiber and stuff, it's very difficult to see. So I'm quite happy with the results out of this. Then I just printed this little chip clip. It's like a little alligator, but it works quite well. I have been using it a little bit over the past couple of days, and it does work quite well. Keeps everything nice and fresh and very tight tolerances. So that's very good to see, once again, out of the silk polychromatic material. And the final two materials, I wanted to see how it fared with doing some color swaps mid-print. So I added into the G-code to just pause the print and change the color. So I printed this little keychain. It's either a BRZ, a GR86, or a FRS, depending on which team you choose. And that turned out really nice. This required no cleanup whatsoever. This is just how it came off the printer. And it's beautiful. I printed the bottom out of the carbon fiber and the top out of just standard PLA. I just want to see how the two would interact, and I struggle to see any issues with this print. I think it's perfect. It's awesome. Definitely going on my keychain. And the last part I printed was this little screw measurement tool. This was once again printed carbon fiber PLA, and then just some white for the top text. Some of the top text is a little difficult to read, but that's nothing that a couple slicer tweaks couldn't fix. I just did this one really quick to get it done for this video, but I'm sure I'm going to try it again and hopefully clean that up a little bit. But yeah, it worked great, and I've been sorting out all my screws. The tool works great as well. So yeah, overall, I'm quite pleased with this printer. I think the value of what you're getting is great. You know, you have the built-in Micro Swiss-esque CM2 along with the camera, a nice filter in the back, the bed. For the extra money, it's well worth the benefits that you get on this printer over the stock K1, and you know, the savings going with this one over all the individual upgrades is a great amount of savings. So I think this printer checks all the boxes for me, and I hope it will for you too. So overall, I think this is a great printer. I think the price is right, and you can't really go wrong. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave a comment or reach out to us directly. please, drop a like, comment, subscribe. Come check out 3D Printing Canada for all your 3D printing needs. All right, thank you very much.